Well, good evening, fam. Welcome back to the Corner Truth. And if this is your first time watching, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your host, Coach K, mindset life coach and motivational speaker. And alongside of me is my wonderful co-host, Dr. Kenneth, aka Gray. Hey, what's up,
Welcome. Thank
everybody?
you. Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
hello. So, Coach, I understand you recently celebrated a birthday. So, happy birthday to you.
Yeah,
Or happy belated
61
birthday.
wonderful, amazing years.
Hey, there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
So, fam, of course, before we get into tonight's topic, always, I'd like for you to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to drop your thoughts down in the comments section. And as always, our disclaimer is tonight's opinions and views do not reflect the views and opinions of the legends from the past and future broadcasts. All right, so we have a very interesting topic for you tonight, folks. Body dysmorphia. So, Coach,
Mhm.
before we jump into that, I have a little song I want to play for you. Okay.
Okay.
There are actually, it's a couple of verses merged into one to kind of set the tone for our topic tonight. All right.
All
So
right.
hold on. All right. So keep in mind, I'm not a singer. All right. So, so bear with the off pitch tunes. Let's see if you can hear this. Let's see if our audience can hear it as well. This is how I look without makeup. And with no brown, my nitty sag down low. I got a little pop in my belly. And nowadays my figure ain't so fly. But I'm alright with me. Hey! I'm alright with me. Hey, said I'm alright with me. Hey!
Hey.
So, yes. So, so fam,
Really?
yes, I am doing tonight's show without any makeup, just a tiny bit of lip gloss purposefully because I wanted to walk in my authenticity. And so, based on tonight's topic, I certainly did not want to be a hypocrite and I wanted to show the world my progress and growth and what led me to this point because tonight's topic, I used to be inside of that trap with body dysmorphia. But I am so glad that I am so comfortable. I am going to be before thousands of people, coach. And this video can't be taken down. It's going to forever be on the internet. So, hallelujah for the growth inside of me that I'm confident enough to come on here and recognize that I'm still beautiful. And at the end of the day, I don't need the makeup because when it's necessary, I know how to command a room. All right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
with that being said, it took a long time to get here. So, hence our topic tonight body dysmorphia. And this
Yeah.
topic came about, which I've been watching a lot of celebs and most
Mhm.
recently an actress by the name of Jackie. She
Mhm.
is about to turn 70 and she's been on a lot of talk shows, talking about her recent work that she had done. And some of it, well, a lot of it alluded to vanity, how she just kind of wanted to keep up. She was beginning to feel a little uncomfortable about her body. And I thought about it and I'm like, it's not just celebs who do that. We
Right.
have men and women out here that's, oh my God, their beauty is based on what they've been sold. And I wanted to talk about it because it's a part of the mindset. So I do want to differentiate between we're not discussing body dysmorphia disorder. That's something that a clinical psychiatrist diagnoses a person with. But I do want to talk about the mindset part of it, the body dysmorphia, how we have this fixation on our self-image, so much so that we feel like we have to compete against others, that we're not beautiful enough and
Right.
or handsome enough.
Right.
And like we always talk about the conditioning, we've been conditioned
Mhm.
to believe that society has planted these seeds in our head that, hey, for women, if you don't have a tiny waist, if you don't have a big behind, you're not pretty enough. Even stemming back to when we were brought over here, our hair wasn't good enough. We had to be taught to straighten our hair, conditioned to straighten our hair, that long straight hair was beautiful, taken away, detracting from our natural beauty. And it just seems like it's just gotten out of control. Men and women alike competing with one another. It's just out of control. And I'm like, do we have any authentic people walking around anymore? So the conversation that
Yeah.
you and I had earlier, you told me that men, what did you say about men?
Well, first off, I want you to feel really good about not wearing makeup because I don't wear makeup either. So because I don't wear, I just want you to know it's okay not to wear the makeup, right? Now, this thing right here, my hair will grow like a chia pet, but I choose to cut it off. My hair just
Mhm.
grows. So it's easier for me to just cut it off. But I never
Mhm.
wore hair on my face. I was always clean shaven. Between his hat
Mhm.
and the hair, I was using it as a cover because I wasn't looking the way I wanted to look, the way I used to look. So I was
Mhm.
hiding from myself to some degree because my body was changing. So what I'm telling you is this: I, as a personal trainer, I've been doing this for 30 years plus. As an athlete, when we never had body image issues, we were always in this composition of as an athlete and no body fat. So we looked the way we looked according to our activity. But
Mhm.
once I became a trainer and I wasn't active anymore, my body started to change, and I realized I
Mhm.
wasn't that person anymore. So we
Mhm.
dress a certain way, but women would tell me on the spot what they don't like, what they want off. I mean, I don't want it cost. I don't care what it costs. Take this stuff off of me. But men, we wouldn't go to our buddies and say, "Look, man, look." No, what I would do is go in the locker room, in the mirror, or in the bathroom, and look at myself and say, "Man, what is your problem? This is not who you
Mhm.
are." So I find
Mhm.
more men are more private, but I think on a level, I think men are more disgusted in with themselves than women because we don't know how to talk about it, right?
Mm.
Because we carry image sometimes as well, but we don't talk about it. We mask up a lot. I know I have I can say this to you. I know how to take it off. I wasn't doing anything to take it off, but I know how to take it off. If you don't have that key,
So you say you
you
know
don't
how
know
to take the mask off or the weight, mask or weight or both.
all of the same. It's the same because
Okay.
I could be wearing a mask of a smile, but my body's out of order, right? So
Okay.
to you, I'm smiling, but in the privacy of my own time, I'm miserable, right? Because
Okay.
I
So
know
you're
I know what
saying
I'm doing.
so you're
Yeah, I
saying
mean,
men, do you think vanity is extreme on one side versus the other?
no, I think it's equal because there's a thing about attraction. We don't attract to ourselves. We want other people to attract to us, right? So you may not like you without makeup, but somebody else may love you the way you look because they're attracted to you. But you may not be attracted to yourself, right? So
Mhm.
so I don't do this all the time. When I groom myself and I'm going to an event, I want to look my best, yes. But I can tell you this:
Of course.
it's not always for me because I will walk in there with a t-shirt and some tennis shoes on and be happy. So you know what? But if I'm going to be among other people, I want to be just as neat
Hmm.
as what I
Hmm.
understand the situation in the event is going to be. Yeah.
Okay. So let's unpack this thing a little more. So we talked about vanity and conditioning and competing. One thing I've learned is that um, competition is a thief of joy. I remember when I was trapped in that stage, I used to be like, you hear women often say, I don't, I dress for other women.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I was team that all the way, all the
Mm-hmm.
way. Like I wanted to outdo the next woman. I'm speaking for myself. When I wanted all eyes to be on me, or I wanted, the women to envy,
Mm-hmm.
what I had on until, oh my God, I was awakened. And I'm like, what are you doing? You don't have to do this. The only person that you need to be in competition with is yourself. Is yourself, because competition is a thief of joy. It robs you of your joy because it's a never ending thing. You always want to outdo the next person. And for me, I realized I was doing that because I wasn't comfortable with who I was. So I was
Self-esteem.
seeking like that,
Yeah.
that validation. And I didn't really understand my value and worth enough to
Right.
know that, hey, I don't have to do that. And just like I
Right.
stated earlier, even without any makeup, even if I'm just in a baseball cap, because the majority of the times around here, if I don't have anywhere to go, that's how I'm dressed. I'm in a pair of sweats and a baseball cap,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, even if I had to walk into a room, I know how to command the presence of a room when need to. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm confident in myself and I know my purpose and my worth. And so, my question to you is, how do you see men in that
It's
scenario?
difficult. It's difficult. We don't have the avenues to talk about our body composition unless we're in the gym, right? If we go to the gym
Mhm,
and I'm working out with my guys, they see the muscles pumping. It's an expectation to be in the gym to look a certain way. But when you get
mhm,
out of that activity, the knock on professional athletes, right? Charles Barkley was one of them. Oh my God, did you see how big Charles got? Right when he was playing, he was this big. Now he's off, you can't even see him in the screen. Shaq, that's the
mhm.
thing. That's the knock on us because it's still we're competitors, right? We are competitors, and we've been taught that from a young age. Even when you have brothers and sisters, moms and dad, well, you need to be like your brother more or your sister. Like what? So those comparisons, those things of competition, slightly, but it's still competition. So I think men have a harder time expressing um, the body changes than women do. I really do.
So I want to talk about where like this kind of stem from, because you were here like again. I remember it was back in the late 90s. I
Mhm.
couldn't step into the mirror without finding some kind of flaw with
Law,
my body,
law. That's right.
some type of flaw. And I remember one day I was talking to my brother, and my brother said, You need to stay out of the mirror. That mirror is your enemy." And for
It's the
some
mirror.
reason, that really hit home to me.
Right.
So
Right.
I began to try to practice, not looking into the mirror every time, I walked by. And I would say over the years, hearing men's conversation, you hear, or I like a woman with small waist. I like a woman with a big behind, and men would body shame women
Mhm.
a lot. And so it created that level of insecurity where women would go out seeking the attention of another man, especially like if they were in a relationship and that relationship went awry. And let's say there was body shaming in that relationship, or she felt that she wasn't his type per se because she's seen him flirting with other women or saying things like damn, like when you make comments like that around women, it makes them feel like, well, dang, what am I? How do you view me? So those types of comments and conversations play heavily in how women carry themselves. I remember I used to tell people, and I still do tell people a lot, before you judge women, try to understand their background. Before you call them a bee or a hoe, oftentimes when you see women out here just in skimpy, I mean the most skimpiest outfits, to me that screams, yes, you do have some who are very proud of their body, but that screams more attention for me. Somebody who's been hurt, and again, somebody's whose voice has been taken away. You know, let me circle back. Whenever I was in a relationship and that relationship went awry, it was like I was coming out. I was buck wild. I go out here, little outfits, whatever, because I wanted the validation that I sought in the relationship that I didn't get. So now I'm before the world trying to get that validation. What would you say about that? Or how
Well,
do you think men are responsible for women's response to their negativity about themselves?
I think it's borderline bullying of women to you call it body shaming, right? But men say
Mhm,
something about a woman as far as what they like. If I tell you what
mhm,
I'm attracted to, that's one thing. But for me to go and now talk about you, and you're not the woman that I'm attracted to, but yet I'm telling you about your flaws and comparing you with somebody else, that's wrong. That's abuse. It's really what that
mhm,
is. It's just abuse. Now, there are women out there who do the same thing to men. I know.
mhm,
I've heard it. So it's not
mhm,
who does it more. Who I think it's an individual based thing. I don't hear it on a mass scale. Yes, I will hear a few women who men who are just absolute disrespectful in what they say to anybody, men or women. They're just disrespectful
mhm,
individuals. But
mhm,
it's one of those things where you say responsible. I don't think men are responsible for the self esteem of women. I think women have to, like you said, know their worth, know who they are, no matter what anybody say to them. You got to know who you are first, and it takes a while.
mhm.
Even for men,
It
it
does.
takes a while. It's a self
Mhm,
esteem, it's a growth thing, and it's a confident thing in self. It's a lot that we have to do to grow up because we're in this cesspool of imagery, of sex appeal, of attraction. It's a cesspool, and
mhm,
what you
mhm,
saw in Hollywood years ago, now you see on
mhm.
TikTok beyond. It's about the likes. It's about the viral. Look, it's still
The glam
superficial.
up.
It's
Mhm,
superficial.
mhm,
At the end of the
mhm.
day, who the hell are you really?
Yeah,
If I don't like
exactly.
you,
So
I'm not gonna like you for the mask. I like you for the internal side.
there you go. And I like what you said. You said men aren't responsible. No,
No.
they are not. However, they are contributors. I would
Of
say that
course.
much.
Yeah.
None.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
so
Now we
even
can talk about we can go all the way back to parents first. And remember how tough parents could be on you from a
oh,
male and
oh,
female
absolutely,
point. So if we're talking about
absolutely.
the contributors, it starts at home. And if your brothers talked about you, if your sisters talked about you before you got into that realm of attraction to other people, you had to take that imagery from how they saw you in your home.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And
That's where it
and
starts.
again, that's what your mindset is.
That's right.
Your mindset is how you interpret the lens through which you interpret your environment. So if you were brought up in those environments, naturally
Exactly.
that's going to
Exactly.
spill over into your adulthood. It's just like we
Yeah.
were talking about earlier. Since you mentioned parents, no child is born craving McDonald's.
Right. Right.
We introduce things to their palate that creates addictive behaviors, um, that creates things like the body dysmorphia. Now you you crave McDonald's, right? And so now you've eaten it so long. Let's say you have a weight issue. Now you're overweight, just not just McDonald's, but just from eating fast food. Now it's hard for you to stop because it has created an addiction. It's like a drug and your body can't stop. And so now that spills over into the BDD, the body dysmorphia disorder, where, now you're overweight, you don't like anything about your body. And it's hard to really come back from that. And so as parents, we have to be careful how we not just, well, yeah, parents, we have to be careful how we rear our children. And actually, as just in any type of relationship, we have to be careful what we say out of our mouths, because we never know how it's going to impact the next person. It's so funny. I was having a conversation with my son today, and we were just talking about conflict, and we were talking about the importance of communication.
Right.
And communication, rather, just across the board, is very, very key. We can't feel like, I think I've said this before on one of our shows, that because we've known someone for 30 years, 20 years, that just doesn't give us the right to say anything that we want to say to that person. It doesn't.
Well, I think
We have to
when you,
think.
when you get
Yeah.
to a level like that of communicating, it's how you allowed yourself to talk to someone. And when you talk to someone a certain way and you allow them to continue to talk that way, that means I have a responsibility to just hold them up and say, oh, wait a minute. Are we yelling here or are we talking here? Because communication comes in so many different ways of trying to get your point across. If you slap me, that means you're communicating to me in a way that's physical. And I don't want to go that way. So if we can just be level-headed and have a conversation, right? Level-headed conversation. But who's going to be the adults constantly to make sure it's always on that level? Conflict is always going to be there. Communication is how you communicate.
So let's bring this back. So I just wanted to tie this back into the body dysmorphia. So I brought that up specifically to give the analogy, like I said, because I feel comfortable with you, because I've known you for so many years, doesn't give me the right to say anything out of my mouth to you.
Yes.
And so, even in joking, if you gained a couple of pounds, we shouldn't be comfortable saying, oh, you're fat. We shouldn't be comfortable if you've lost weight. Oh, you're so skinny. What are you doing? The new thing is, are you on Ozempic? That's not healthy communication. And that's what I'm talking about. And it's things like that that will make a person retreat back into their shells.
So
Someone
when you say it that way, though, when you say retreat, and that's my next point, am I pushing you away by saying those things to make you retreat because I'm not attracted to you or you're not attracted to me anymore? That's why I say those things I say to push you away. And we know if we do that, you're going to retreat, right? We know what we're doing when we say that. If I'm saying what I'm saying to you, it is a trigger. I know what I'm saying. It's negatively. It's a negative response to you to hurt you. Period. It's to hurt you.
Well, it's to hurt if I've brought it to your attention. If I've not communicated to you that, hey, I don't like when you say this to me, or you're not allowed to say this to me anymore.
Right.
If I don't bring that to your attention,
Exactly.
then I can't hold you accountable. So I first have to let you know that I don't like being called skinny. That's my pet peeve. I don't like when people call me skinny.
Cut it off. You got to be the one
So
to be. Yes, cut it off. Yep.
Yes. So when I tell you that I don't like being called skinny, if I told you that multiple times and you continue to do so, at this point, you're being disrespectful.
Disrespectful. Yeah. Absolutely.
You're being disrespectful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so
those are the level. Those are the actual grown-up responses of letting someone know up front what you like or what you don't like. But then if you don't kill it it will continue to grow. And when you feed something the most, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger unless you
Yeah.
starve. Unless you starve
Yeah.
it.
And then at that point, you have to be fair to the next person. You can't explode on them, because you chose not to tell them your dislikes. But let's go back to society and parents, how we introduce things to our kids. So
Mhm.
I thought about this. How much would we be competing against one another if makeup was never introduced to us? All these other things, all these other enhancements. Now, I don't want the viewers to get it twisted. If you want to do a nip and tuck here and there, that is your business. I
Mhm.
am not here, we're not here to judge you, but I would just hope that if you're doing something like this, it's for health reasons or you're doing it solely for yourself and not for the appearance or validation of others, because that's when it can become unhealthy. So society has planted a lot in our heads. We talk a lot about conditioning and programming. Remember some years ago when we had a lot of young girls developing anorexia because they look at these size zero models and that's what society deemed as being beautiful, and now you got young girls starving themselves, don't want to eat because they want to look like these made up so-called little Barbie dolls on television, when these people don't even look like this in real life. You
Right.
get them home, they look like me. Take the lashes off, take the what do they call it, the brush up paint or whatever, there's a term for it, I can't think of it right now. Take all that off and you have a natural human being before your midst. When are we going to get to the point where we accept our own beauty, that we are beautiful the way that we are? And that is because we don't accept who we are internally. And I want men and women alike to get to know and accept who you are internally so you can show up on the outside like that. And it doesn't matter if you have muscles where you got to wear the 8-month-old baby t-shirt to show muscles, where you don't have to wear the eyelashes and contour your nose to make it appear smaller, all this foolishness.
So the question is who you're doing it for. You asked that question, right? And we don't know why they're doing it. You would have if they were honest with
Hmm.
themselves, then they would tell you. But a lot of times people are not honest because they're followers, right? They've seen someone else do it, or it's peer pressure with hanging with the girls or the boys, or whatever the case, or trying to fit in. Then you look at mommy every morning dressed up for work, right? It's a lot that we as young people see before we get to adulthood. A lot. So now the
Hmm.
world is telling you what to expect, what color suit you should wear in a meeting, and shoes and match and all that. Look, it's out there. The programming is out there. The accepted part of fraternities and sororities and oh my, all those things. It's part of being part of something, but which at what degree? I like uniforms. I love uniforms. Trust me. I've been in uniforms most of my life, but it tells me I'm part of a team and we're all doing this together. But there's also a whole lot of self-esteem and peer pressure issues with individuals on that team that when they go home, it's a different world, right?
Yeah,
You don't know
yeah.
what they're coming from, what their home life is for. You said environmental. Absolutely. It's
But
the
it's not
environment.
just kids. It's prevalent in adults. I see it
Right?
more in
You got
adults
people.
now than I do,
Yes,
because
yes.
the children that I see nowadays, they're doing their own brand, even
Well, we
down
grow
into the
into it.
schools.
Yeah, the kids grow into
Mhm,
that adult, and we bring those bad habits
exactly.
and these things into adulthood. Yeah,
Yeah. And so the younger kids now, I see them as far as fashion, they're branding their own now. I can't speak too much about body shaming on the younger side because I'm
it
I'm
happens.
no longer
It
a
happens.
school teacher and I
Oh,
don't
listen,
see it as much as I used to. However,
Isn't that
I do see a lot with adults, and it's like, why do you think that that's okay to say about another human being, period? You know, look at him, his stomach's hanging over. Look at her. Why do we think that it's okay to do that?
Well, I've been in the school system and coaching and been in the environment of the school system for almost 32 years, right? The body shaming starts at a very young age. It does. I remember when I was just a sophomore and I didn't like lifting weights and I didn't even like going in the weight room. And I'm on the football
Mhm.
team with some of the seniors, and the seniors pulled me over and said, hey, Gray. I said, yeah. He said, do you have some of these? I said, I don't want any of those. I said, because that didn't get me on this team. It wasn't the weight, and it wasn't the vanity. It was my talent that got me here. But in that weight room, they were competing with themselves of this certain look because they're girls that's walking down the hallway too, and those girls are looking and they're watching,
Mhm.
right? So it starts at a very young age. Trust me. Then they grow
Of
into it,
course.
right?
Of
And they
course.
bring that into, because I mean it's brutal in the school system, especially high school. It's brutal for those young
Mhm.
people because they don't know how to fit in. What's their identity? Who are they?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
who are they going to hang out with? And I've seen it.
Whew.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's interesting that you say identity, because that's how I ended up in the trap, because I didn't know my identity,
Yeah.
and so when you don't know who you are, people will quickly tell you who they think you should be.
That's right.
And
Exactly.
like you
Exactly.
said, you will
Yeah.
follow suit.
Yeah.
And now you find yourself in this maze, and it leads to the competing, the competition. It leads to the addiction, because the addiction can be anything. Now I'm addicted to wearing makeup. Now I'm addicted to a certain style of dress because I feel like I have to outdo the next person. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
and
And you
it's
know what that leads to, right? It leads
it
to
was that.
jealousy. And when you get to that level
Yeah.
of jealousy of somebody else that you try to fit
Hmm.
in, or compete against to be better because they're getting all the attention, it is
Hmm.
a venomous situation. It
Of
can be
course.
venomous,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is why I love to see people in their own brand, their own style. Like, for me, at one point, I said I was going to stop walking around, in my sweats and my baseball cap or what have you. Because, and I said that because I said, as a life coach, no one's going to take you seriously if you're walking around in sweats and a baseball cap all the time. But then I got to thinking, and I said, it doesn't matter. I'm not dirty. If I'm in, again, who I am as a person is going to shine through, whether I'm in my sweats, a suit. It's all about my demeanor, how I carry myself, how the aura that I carry about myself. So now, when I go outside, people, I'm in my sweats and my baseball cap, people are, hey coach, hey Coach K, people know, I've built a rapport with people, and they see who I am internally shows up externally. So
Yeah.
I'm so comfortable walking around in my baseball cap and my sweats, just as
Well, there's
comfortable as I am sitting here before you
well,
now with
people,
no makeup on.
yeah, but people have an expectation of you too, right? And
Mhm.
whether you believe it or not, they judge you. They believe you should be a certain way if you have a certain job or you do, whatever. I remember I was in a fitness center and I was a fitness director at one of these gyms. Actually, a friend of mine, Kevin Laroni, he was a bodybuilder, and the front
Mhm.
desk guys would always ask me a question. Hey, man, aren't you the fitness director? I said, yeah, I am. He said, well, how come you don't look the part? I said, what does the part of fitness director supposed to be? Yeah, I said, I
Mhm.
run a department of personal trainers and blah, blah, blah. What am I supposed to look like? Well, I mean, don't you? I said, no, let's not worry about that. I said, I've been there, done that. I'm doing a management job. But if you think please don't think that I can't look the part. So he challenged me. I'm thinking, why you want to do that? Don't challenge me. You don't even know who I am. But he went so far left with it to where he was talking to unprofessionally people. I'm thinking, listen, here's what we're going to do, me and you. I said, but let me say this to you. You work out every day and you haven't changed yet. Your whole body still looks the same. Now, you have not seen me look, you haven't seen me. Now, I'm just giving it back to him. I'm giving it back to him because I didn't ask for it. But now that you want to go here.
Did you drag him, coach? You dragged him.
Did I drag him? I didn't just drag him because in 30 days, we had a competition. And the competition was you're going to stand before all the people you're talking to, and I'm going to do the same, and we're going to take our shirts off. When I took mine off, he never got undressed. I promise you what I say, because you don't know who you're dealing with. I mean, look, when I do a job, but you don't know my background. You know who I am. So what you got to understand is that's because I'm comfortable with me. Okay.
There you go.
I'm comfortable with me. I am in this position because I earned the right to be coach. I earned the right to be the director. Don't come out your mouth sideways. So when we talk about makeup, it should be a choice because you like the makeup, not because you need to wear the makeup. If you want the big lashes, do it because you want it, not because you're trying to fit in.
Wait, not the big lashes.
And again, I'm not. Let me just say it, okay? You know, you may say something about me, but for me, I'm not attracted to any woman where I know.
Stop this.
I just know some things are excessive and some things are not. And for me, I just see the excessive part, and I've never seen anybody born with lashes that big. And that's just me being 100%. Now, they may see something on me to say, hey, I haven't seen that. Okay. But my point is, I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just saying if that's who you are and that's what you like, please be the best who you are without any peer pressure. Okay?
I can't with your life right now.
I don't know, because I don't want to offend anybody, because I don't like being offended, you know. But again, I'm just saying, you know, I have big eyes.
The moment you did that,
my family called me Big Eyes. My brother called me Big Eyes. They said, "Look, I'm looking for something. Can you come help me find it? Because I have big eyes." Okay, I hope I can help you out.
So let's be honest. Wait a minute. When you did that, it triggered something in me, because I personally, I won't wear them. I don't like the tarantula looking eyelashes, but if it works for you, it works for you, because I don't want someone to spot my lashes before they spot me, or be so distracted by my lashes that they miss me. So if that's your personal preference, hey, have at it. Is that what you like? Have at it. If you're happy with it, your man happy with it, have at it. You know, but
but I'm saying, listen, I've been in a costume before for Halloween. I dressed up as something as Halloween. Okay. Now, I'm not going to sit here that I say I didn't have, you know, a big hat or a big stomach, because when we were younger, the biggest thing that the biggest asset, we never had any body fat on our bodies. So we used to walk around, me and my friend, as the fat man. But how do we become the fat man? We stuck some pillows underneath our stomach, and nobody knew who we were, because we were always thin. Right? Today, I'm that fat man. I don't have to put a pillow underneath my belly anymore. Right? So what I'm saying to you is, life has a way of catching up with you.
It was those words that return to you as like a boomerang. Prime example. That's what I tell people: be careful what you throw out there, because your words are bound to return. They're like boomerangs.
I am that fat man at 10 years old that we used to portray for Halloween. I'm that man now. But you know what? We changing that, because I'm in a competition now. You see, I send you out. You see that email or that text I send out every day. I'm in a fitness
Oh,
competition with men's health right now, so I'm changing my body composition down a little bit.
whew, my stomach is
Yeah,
hurting
man. Look, I've
right
been a
now.
fat man for years now. For a fat man for years now. Because you know what? What requires you to be a fat man is not doing anything. And guess what? I wasn't doing jack. And guess what I got?
Okay, well, that. Well, at least you can own that. So,
Yes. That's with me
you made me,
being funny with myself. I'm just being funny with
yes,
myself.
you made me lose my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Gosh,
I'm sorry.
listen, I have a very comedic way about certain of my flaws too, but I want to go back to the fixation. I remember when, so being pregnant, instead of getting, I didn't get stretch marks on my stomach carrying my son. What I did inherit was spider veins. So I have spider veins on my leg. And for the longest time, I was just like, I can't even give you a good descriptive adjective to describe
Right.
how I felt. But
Right.
I was embarrassed by them. It was, I wasn't very comfortable at all. And I remember sometime after I told you my brother told me that I needed to stay out of the mirror. I mean, it didn't just happen overnight. It took years, but gradually I started pointing out certain things on my body that I felt wasn't attractive or made me less attractive, and I started embracing them. I was
Right.
like,
Right.
these are
Right.
my battle scars.
Right.
These
There you go.
everybody has a war story, and I started to
Mhm.
embrace my battle scars. I
Mhm.
was like, wait a minute, I earned this, I
Earned it.
can,
You earned it. That's
I
right. That's
owned it.
right.
And so I started to embrace that thing.
Right.
And Lord, the difference that it makes when we start to embrace different things. These are my beauty scars. These
Right.
as a woman, these are
Right.
my beauty marks. I'm particularly excited about being on here without any makeup
Mm-hmm.
again because in 2 weeks I'm getting ready to turn 58 years old. So I'm like, you know
Ooh,
what? Let me
yeah.
embrace not getting old, but getting older.
Seasoned.
Gracious,
You're getting,
gracious.
boy, you're about to become like fine wine. You know, that's what it is. Look, let me tell you, it's an honor because you earned that right to come to this other side when you hit 60. Very different. And again,
But
you look marvelous. You
well,
look,
thank you,
yes.
thank you,
Let's not forget that part.
thank you. So wait, when you said that there's a big difference when you get on the other side, it doesn't have to be a big difference.
Yeah, yeah.
It's mental. Yeah,
It's here.
it's there. It
Here.
doesn't have to be a big difference.
It's
So,
here.
it all depends on how, again, how you
Mhm.
see yourself,
It's
what
so right.
you allow
Mhm.
in here.
That's right.
We
That's right.
said uh I remember when I used to watch the Housewives series, right?
Mhm.
And I was a huge fan of all the
Right.
Housewives. And I remember I found myself like subconsciously mimicking behaviors, just certain ways, or just
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was unaware. It's like you sleepwalking doing things because I consumed it so much
Mhm.
till it literally became a part of me. Then I started wanting to dabble a little more with the makeup. I wanted to see if I could make my nose a little smaller. I wanted to see if I could copy like their makeup trends. Not as elaborate, but see what I can do with a little more makeup. And then I was like, one day I woke up, I was like, what are you doing? you know, what are you doing? You're digressing. you're going back. You're not being yourself. You're trying to be someone else. And I'm not saying that every woman does that, but it's so easy. That's why it's called television programming.
Come on.
It's so easy to fall into these traps. And this is why I'm encouraging, again, both men and women alike, get to know who you are, be comfortable with who you are. If you're overweight and you're comfortable with that, be comfortable with it. Don't let
Absolutely.
anyone body shame you. If you
Absolutely.
are tiny, petite, be
Mhm.
comfortable with that. Don't allow anyone to body shame you.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, and go to your and to your point, right? You were talking about yourself. You recognized it, that you were morphing into something that it wasn't you. You know, you
mhm.
you realized that you were changing, and you caught yourself. You know how many people don't catch themselves
Yeah,
because they don't know
yeah,
how, that they don't realize they are in this flow of acceptance and trying to be something. And again, that's really, and again, when you're talking about self, I have two friends. Okay, number one friend is God. Second one is Eric Wade, my best friend. That's the only people I hang
mhm.
out with. Everyone else, I met friends along the way, but now they are associates of mine,
Yeah,
right? So I
mhm,
tend to hang by myself. I do what I want to do. Yes, I'm
mhm.
respectful, considerate of other people, but when it comes to me and my body, and I didn't like my body, it was for me to change that. I heard people say, "Man, look how big you got." Okay,
Yeah,
it didn't bother me because
mhm.
they see me differently after 20, 30, 40 years. Well, they don't know what I was going through to get me to
Yeah,
this point.
exactly,
And that's where the mental
exactly.
health, that's where the mental health side comes in. And so I hear you, but what you're saying really don't define me, right? That mirror defined me. Because when I looked in that mirror,
Mhm,
me and that mirror had a
mhm.
serious discussion like need you need to change some things, son. brother, your brother told you to get out that mirror, but you should ask him how many times he been in that mirror. Maybe you were taking up mirror time from him.
All
But
right. So, Fair, I want to end the show with this. The goal of the show was to bring awareness, um, is was to also encourage you if you were struggling a little bit with your identity or being comfortable in your own skin. We just want to prompt a little encouragement. And also too, if you feel that your fixation is a little bit overboard, I encourage you to get some help. If it leads to an obsessive compulsive disorder where you are so fixated on every little thing and it's interfering with your life and your everyday life, I encourage you to get some help. And I also want to let you know that you are not alone. Again, it took me a minute to get to the point where I am now. And the point where I am now is I recognize that I am authentic, I am bold, and I am beautiful. I am distinctive and I am essential. I am fearless and I am great. I am honorable and I am integrity. I am kingdom minded and I am joyful. I am loving and I am mindful. I am necessary and I am optimistic. I am powerful and I am quintessential. I am respected and I am serene. I am talented and I am unique. I am valuable and I am worthy. I am tenacious and I am yield less of others' control over me, and I am zealous. I am because the I am that I am created me. And this, fam, is who Coach K is. And I want you to have the same progress and walk and discover your growth, your unique identity, because no one on this earth carries the same fingerprints as you. You are unique. With that being said, Pam, thanks so much for joining the show. Thank you, Coach Gray, as always. And once again, happy birthday. Until
Thank
next
you.
time, fans, we are out.
Peace.